this is an area where you are trying to live on your own and in your own power, and you need to trust me. We as Christians do not live in the power of ourselves, but in our weakness, he's made strong. And we don't believe that. We think our power is not perfected in weakness. We think that power is perfected in power. So I must be stronger. I must pull myself up by my bootstraps. I must be independent. So let's talk specifically about temptations. I want to talk about 4 temptations that happen when we are experiencing a dark night of the soul, a desolation that feels like there could be no end. And so the first temptation, and we move from spiritual anxiety, spiritual frustration, spiritual anger, that really then we start just feeling a sense of guilt. Like, I should be able to make this work. Like, get your life together, man. Like, I should be able to make this work. And that the spiritual pride that we have is that we think we could make that life work. And if we feel guilty, we feel shameful about what we're going through, really that's a key to see that we were relying on our own power in that.
Yeah. I mean, you said it before, I feel like in another episode, like I was trying to listen to that song. I was trying to, read the same verses that
we do all the things we did before
at that point. And then it's just like just nothing. You're getting nothing from it that time. And you get that feeling that I should be able to do this. I know what this should feel like. And it doesn't.
Yeah. And then you start blaming yourself. Like, if I only had more passion, then God would. And so fill in the blank, like give yourself this test. If only I blanked, then God would blank. And if you are filling in that, right, with anything other than if only I would surrender, then then God would save me, right? Then we're missing the point, and we're still relying on our own strength. And remember from the last episode, we talked about the little Dutch boy who's got his fingers and his thumbs and his 10 toes all inside of the wall, keeping the water back. And the Holy Spirit is trying to show you, hey, this is an area where you are trying to live on your own and in your own power, and you need to trust me. We as Christians do not live in the power of ourselves, but in our weakness, he's made strong. And we don't believe that. We think our power is not perfected in weakness. We think that power is perfected in power. So I must be stronger. I must pull myself up by my bootstraps. I must be independent. And the reality is that I think, if anything, the sham that independence really is has been revealed in this last few years with a worldwide pandemic. That's something that could happen in China, and Wuhan, China, could now affect us all the way over here in the States, and could put the whole world on a lockdown. Like, this individuality that what I do, what I want to do doesn't affect other things. It's just like, come on, like, realize in this moment, like, that God is working through you, and it's not this individualized thing. All right. So the second temptation is that I'm tempted to work harder. So my first temptation is I feel guilty. But then because of that guilt, that drives us to work harder. And really, one of my professors called it that we become mature beginners. And really what we need to do is just have a strong view of the cross in this, that I'm not saved by anything that I could do, lest I should boast, but only by Jesus and his finished work on the cross. And so we're trying really hard to be good, but we can't accept the fact that Christ loves us, that while we are still sinners, he died for us. We have to be able to come to terms with that and have this big view of the cross, this even bigger view of Jesus, what he did on the cross, to understand that we can't work harder.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that'll lead to the third temptation, which kind of briefly mentioned earlier, but really it's this: we begin to do spiritual disciplines less. And I mean, we don't stop believing, but maybe we stop doing the spiritual disciplines because there's no payoff and we feel bad. So again, we have guilt that leads to, I'm going to try harder. But then when that doesn't work, trying harder, so we try to do the spiritual disciplines, then the temptation then is, I'm just going to stop. They don't work anyways. I'm going to stop. And I remember, maybe I've shared this story before, but I remember this guy came into my office. I was working with recovering addicts at the time. He came into my office and he was like, well, it's just not working. I'm like, well, what's not working? He's like, Jesus, like, he's not doing what I'm telling him to. And I'm like, what? And we start talking. Well, this guy had practiced witchcraft before he came to Jesus, and had done, like true dark stuff to control things and outcomes and people. And whether you believe it or not, he did. And so he was applying that same worldview to Jesus, that if I just do this, then God will do this. That temptation is like, well, it's not working. And so we apply that to our own lives. It's not working. There's no payoff. So I'm going to stop doing the spiritual disciplines. And then ultimately that fourth temptation is that we just stop altogether. And like, God's not going to show up. I'm in complete and utter despair. And really the sad part is there are a lot of clergy, pastors, Bible college professors. I'm just going to speak as pastor. Like, there is no room to go through desolation, dark night of the soul in a church environment. Usually I'm part of I think a healthy church that I believe there is room to go through that. But for the most part, it's a lot of smaller churches. They don't have a staff to allow you room or to go through this, or resources to equip you to go through this. And so if you start expressing doubts or concerns or anything like that, there's no safe place to do this. So then you end up amongst internet trolls, and your life just starts slowly unraveling. And that's a very difficult place to be in those times.